Hello everyone and welcome to the 18th episode of the Chicken Chess Club podcast. I am the very French Grandmaster Laurent Fressinet. I'm delighted to be joined by my friends, my dear colleagues and friends, Jan Gustafsson and Peter Heine Nielsen. Hi guys, how is life? Jan?
Yeah, I thought I should wait for Peter because he usually complains we talk the first 45 minutes without him. But then he doesn't say anything when I'm being polite for once. Life is rough, as you know. My daughter had her first day of school today. They grow up so fast. So I hung out with German parents, trying to not look like a sociopath and do like usual small talk, waiting for the kids to check each other out in the school. But other than that, not much happening. Sitting here, back in good old Hamburg.
How is your golf doing, Peter?
Well, you're spot on. My wife said that she would be away for 2 days due to the NBA. And like Jan, I really like basketball, so I thought it was a great idea. But it turns out to be the NBA, which is Nordic Baltic something. But she's away, so I'm with my oldest kid. And I took him to a golf camp. Like, there's chess camps, but there's also golf camps. So basically, I go with him and I just sit in the cafe or play golf myself while he's having, golf lessons from 9 till 12. Then he eats, then he has sports activities. And, that's basically how the day passes. And, now he's watching something while I'm doing podcast with you. So, it's me and Marius hanging out on the golf course. So that's not too bad, actually. But, I recovered from...
He's enjoying more than you? Oh, not yet.
Well, I think we are both in the stage where the biggest problem is hitting the ball. I've played for several years, so of course I'm better at that. But no, he seems to have a good time, basically. And there are like 15 kids there hanging out, so he seems actually to be enjoying it. Today he said, the driver, that's the biggest. And he tries to whack the ball with a driver, and it still only moves 5 meters. But he seems to think that's fun. So, I was also with him in the chess club afterwards, and he gives mate being up with 2 rooks on a knight. So this is sort of the level, but he seems to enjoy it quite, is my impression. And me too, I guess. But also, I was about to say that I fully recovered from COVID after Chennai, so that's great. And I actually managed to isolate for so long that it didn't affect my family, so that was also a good thing. So overall, let me for a change actually be somewhat positive, although there was quite some complaints.
We'll get you down.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So in general, your son enjoys the activities you also enjoy, yeah? Golf, chess, FIDE, are those his hobbies as well?
Yeah. We tweet a lot together, right? I don't know. I mean, I think in the evening we are planning to, again, that we are on our own, so we'll play Wii together. That actually we both generally enjoy, is my impression. So, Sonic at the Olympics, this kind of important stuff. That's the plan. But
Peter was talking way too much already for the first 30 minutes. I mean, then he will keep talking for 20 minutes about Twitter, FIDE.
It's been a long day, played the golf for 4 hours, been shopping, walking him to the chess club. So basically I'm planning on a nap while you are going through all your matches from the French Championship.
I'm not. I just finished.
But let's get to that, because I was, I don't usually follow chess unless I have to, but I was deliberately watching your match against Bacro in the semifinals. It was very exciting fight. Last time we talked, I think it was before your first game.
It was before the first game. It was during the free day when the day before I tried the Bermuda Party Gambit, because there is no Bermuda Party there, but there is a free day and there is thousand players, so there is some stuff going on. Before
you found some company to drink some.
No, I didn't actually. I did the Bermuda Party Gambit, so I just stayed home and get rested for my upcoming match with Bacro, which was a terrible mistake. Obviously, I'm just dumping the Bermuda Gambit now. So it was. I did. The first classical game, I was black, and I repeated this famous game between Nepo and
Yeah, you seemed
Magnus.
very well prepared. You knew all the subtleties. Yes, Bishop D7, Queen C8. I was very impressed. No,
Yeah,
easy
that was
position to
the
play.
first line of some
But
strong
this
engine.
puzzled me a bit. So basically, Bacro thought you're just gonna make the same mistake as Magnus, or what was his plan?
I mean, he was surprised by my opening choice, I guess, and now he said now you are playing at the end of the game. He said, now you start playing the same lines than Magnus.
Now you're finally allowed to throw it all out there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do anything special. I just played much better than Magnus actually in that game, which was considerably shorter, but that was not too difficult because the first 17 moves was the same. And then I just played the first line of the computer, which seems to show a lot of zeros. So that was an easy do. And as I told you, the match strategy, I tied with white. And I came very, very close. That was a pity because I think I played a very interesting game for a change.
Was a nice game. First of all, your fighting spirit was admirable. Then you played this move G4, taking some chances. You completely outplayed him. And then you couldn't quite finish the job. Yeah, later, I don't know.
Yes, it was
I'm
a mix
just assuming
of...
everyone's seen the game. Maybe you shouldn't exchange rooks or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
There
my
was some
mistake.
point there. I thought that you played a bit too chickenish, actually. Yeah.
I thought it was this endgame was winning, which was a mistake. It's a mix of him, I guess, defending well when he was lost, and me being incompetent at converting. So so it was a long game. So that was weird because we played the tiebreak in the very same evening, and the tiebreak was full of drama. As I lost the first game, then I came back, then I won the first blitz as black. Then I had a completely winning position as white, but I lost it anyway, and I lost in the Armageddon. But okay, it's so random, and it was 8 out of play that I cannot really pretend, it's unfair or something. It just happened, and that's life goes on. I mean, I lost many matches to Bako. I won very few. So this bit of at the end of. When you are boss turret, it's just a bit. He's doing like one mistake less than me. I mean, basically. I don't know. That was a bit, of course, sad. But I mean, I won the previous match in the Armageddon, so I guess overall, it's fair. And then I had to play the final match where I was really tired. So both classical games were very. Very dull, and then we played the rapid, and I played quite well. I mean, I didn't play well, but I played better than my opponent, Mathieu Cornet, and I finished third. So this is kind of, I guess, fair result. I was seeded number 3, and actually this knockout new formula was very criticized. It's so random, but actually the top 3 rating took the first 3 spots in the right order, actually. Jules Moussard won his first French title. Now he's playing, of course, much better. And he beat Bacro in the Armageddon again in the final match. So it was a very, very close match. And but I think considering how he played in the Olympiad and before, it was very well deserved for my very good friend Jules, and then we had this French celebration, in some party with some pool, and you don't know in which room you are going to sleep at the end of the night. So that was fun.
Now I dislike you again. I want to praise you for a moment there, because the match against Bacro, the semi-final, was really exciting to watch as a spectator. Like all these ups and downs, and then heartbreak in the Armageddon. I think you were winning like one move before the end. No, then you stepped into some trick. It was very exciting.
No, I mean, like the second blitz, I was completely winning as white, but the Armageddon he played, I got nothing, and I was crushed actually. I choose white. I don't know. It's always the same. I never know what to choose. You have white and 5 minutes, black has 4 minutes. And I feel that for me, the 1 minute extra is so valuable because I'm so slow. I'm weak, but as well. But it's not going to. It's not going to matter if I have 4 or 5. But I mean, I feel I'm too slow, and I feel at this point, We are playing there for 8 hours. We had a 2 hours break. I feel that it's going to end with a blunder. And actually, I did hang a bishop, so I was right. I mean, it did finish with a blunder. So I feel like a draw is not the likely result, because the level of play is quite bad. So why not taking the extra minute? But I would like to have some opinion from you guys, because Jan, would you rather take white or black in that situation, or would it be just a matter of feeling or opponent?
I think it somewhat depends on the dynamic and the openings with the opponent, but other things being equal, I would always take white, because I think the extra minute matters, and there are not, at least at my level, not that many drawn blitz games that I think the draw is such a giant factor, these draw odds. But I haven't done math, while I'm sure Peter has already run complex simulations. He studied all the meta studies studying that situation. So Peter, white 5 minutes, black 4 minutes at, let's say, 2600 level. What's better? With draws.
I honestly don't know, because I haven't really seen the data on it. Back in my days, I think you're supposed to choose black. So that's what we all did and lost in some World Cup. And then people started taking white. Well, ideally, it shouldn't matter, because if it matters, then the system is wrong, right? So I would really say that it's FIDE's job to make sure that it's an equal equal proposition, right?
It's not the FIDE segment, please, Peter.
FIDE's fault.
No, but I'm serious. The idea is that it should be equal. So, I mean, ideally, it should be an equal bet, right? I mean, that's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
I think so. So, I mean, but I would have to look more into the data. But also, I mean,
you know that this Armageddon, I played like 7 or 8. I don't know, maybe 10. Yeah. I think I won 90% of the coin flip.
It's not
amazing. I'll always have to choose, and I'm always very annoyed that I have to choose, which is an edge, of course. But then I don't know what to pick, and then you think, if you lose, you're such an idiot.
It's a bit like when we make bets about openings. I just let you choose, and then I crush you, right? I mean, it's...
yeah, that's true,
yeah. But I wanted to say something about the French Championship. I noted that you went for the knockout. Was that sort of the politicians who thought that there is too many suspicious draws, so that you actually have to play man against man, or
no? It's many things. The major thing is that the audience, much more people were watching. Much more people. I mean, Jan was watching.
Jan was watching. I didn't notice, I have to admit.
Some common friend we have, maybe common boss as well, wrote me great fun after I won some Armageddon. So I mean, like, and also spectators. They were. I mean, in the where we're playing, in the playing hall, they were very enthusiastic about that, because before it's a close tournament, so it also feels you cannot read. I mean, the formula, because there is no final, so it's not clear for the media. It's not clear for the people who are following the tournament. So that's the first part. The second part is that obviously many players are playing for many years, and sometimes the games are a bit dull. There is a lot of those. That was clear. So yeah, these two things was the main argument to change the formula in general. The players, most of the players, they didn't like it. I do, because I played many World Cups, and I think World Cup is great, and sometimes I had to pack after 2 days. That was very unpleasant, but that's how it goes. And the audience is very happy about it. So I guess the federation will keep doing it. You know, chess players, we have our small comfort, and when we have the impression to lose something, but actually the prize money is exactly the same, so that doesn't really matter. So when you put chess players out of their comfort zone, sometimes they don't really like it, and I think that was my feeling when some players complained. Of course, it's players who got knocked out very quickly.
Well,
so
I actually at some point thought that the Olympiad should be a knockout stage in the end, because then we will have an Olympic final. That would be cool. The problem is that in chess, we don't like this idea of sending people home. But in the French Championship, you can do it. I mean, well, it's still played in the country, so there that you are sent home after a couple of days, at least it's acceptable. While, for instance, at the Olympiad, you cannot just send everybody home. I mean, what happens to the Bermuda party? This kind of stuff, right? But this idea of having a final is kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, of course. And
sports should be like this.
And I agree. And this Armageddon stuff, I think actually the formula of World Cup in soccer, which we'll see in December, I think, is great because you have this. It's a mix. You have some groups, and then you have a knockout. So the tension is you are building up the tension, which I think is great. But I like the knockout format in general. I mean, like I don't mind being sent home if I'm playing poorly. No. I don't like to suffer for 10 days. I mean, why? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Beautiful. I went to visit the German Championship over the weekend in the lovely city of Magdeburg. There, we need to fix the German Championship. Not even so much about the knockout, but the problem is the strongest group is called German Masters. And then we have a second group that's called German Championship, where it's more or less of an open tournament, I think, with 30 players. And somehow they don't manage to make the strongest group where the guys are playing, like Keimer is playing, and Kollers, and Swane, and so on. They don't manage to name that the German Championship, I think, because they're afraid to offend the local federations who want their representative in the German Championship. But it's a bit weird, no? Like, to have the top group, the closed tournament, as the German Masters. You win it, you're the German Master. But now, a kid... Kudos to him. He seems like he's going to be a great player. But a 14-year-old kid is now the German champion.
Okay.
So it's a strange system.
That sounds generally weird. But, well, I always thought that, for instance, the French Championship, the strongest player would play, and there was some prestige in it, while the German Championship was typically a bit weaker. Or am I offending your native country?
Well, I think it usually comes down to money. I think
most
exactly. Of the guys,
but
not me because I don't play chess, but most of the guys that have been playing this German Masters, even if there wasn't a German champion title at stake. But I always thought that for the top players, also if you look at whatever history books we'll have in 50 years, it's nice to have a look, like who was the champion, who won the top group, and so on. And it's very confusing right now in Germany. Also, as Laurent later, if he wants to sell whatever courses he's doing or open his Laurent Fressinet Chess Academy, then it's much nicer if he can put 3-time French champion Laurent Fressinet.
Yeah. I'm twice French champion, but that's okay. And actually, the format, like the first losers, the first 8 losers, they could join some kind of master where there's some prize money. So they already win a prize. They can play for more prize money. It was some open tournament, and you can qualify again for the main group for the next year. Of course, for 2,600 players, it's not really interesting, but I think 3 of them joined. Or 4 of them joined. So it's not too bad. If you want to play chess, you can as well play chess. Of course, if you lose in quarterfinals, then you're screwed. You join the Open with half point out of 1, which I think is no disaster.
You lost me there. It sounds very complicated, but it also sounds like you have it all figured out.
Oh,
yeah. I want to play the German Blitz Championship on Sunday, but I wasn't allowed. Well, I asked 3 days before, but it turned out it was full. So they told me that normally someone doesn't show up and then I can play. But I was standing there, ready to go after a great night's sleep at 10 a.m. in Magdeburg. And everybody showed up. I couldn't play. It was a great pity. So I had to spend the day with my family. Went to some park with the kids.
So I'm if you can hear this alarm, I'm in some...
Fire alarm?
You can hear?
Yeah, I hear it very well.
I'm in some hotel room and there's the fire alarm which went on. So I'm not going to panic yet, but who knows? you may lose me. So let's see.
Okay, I'll take over then. Well, about German Championship, I really want to praise the Swane brothers, the 2 Danes. I mean, well, they had to play each other. And quite impressively, they didn't make a quick draw. but they actually played. And, the younger brother, Frederick, managed to win a complicated game. But I thought it was pretty cool that, two brothers, the lower right has white, and they actually avoid making repetitions and play a long, complicated game. I thought that showed some character and deserves a shout-out. Or did I mention it in the last podcast? I don't think so, right?
I don't know, but we should give more shout-outs to the Svane brothers. At the time of recording, Frederik Svane, the younger brother, was still in contention, chasing Vincent Keimer, who looks like the favorite to take it all. I think it was 1 point or half a point ahead of Frederik going into the penultimate round. One other game. Keimer strong in general. All these kids, I was checking the under 20 live rating list. They're all like 20 points up every other month, no? Now Gukesh is 2730, Eric Geisi is 27 something, Abdu Satorov is 27 plus. Keimer is very close. Who can stop them? Laurent. Is chess just an 18-year-old's game now?
I'm just muting myself and listening to the fire alarm. So I will just mute myself. And then I will give my opinion.
Okay.
Peter, half-serious question. Is chess just becoming younger?
Well, I wanted to talk about this later, but we can take it here. I mean, in this recent tournament, you saw that Anis Giri, who is in the world's top 10, actually ended as number 7, far behind, for instance, Pragnananda. And, also, you saw the Olympiad. He was playing, I think, Abdu Satsarov. Well, he made a draw, but he was generally being outplayed. And I think he lost to Abdu Satsarov, another of the Uzbek players in the World Cup. And I'm sort of wondering, Jakob Aagaard has always been saying that, there's like an elite club of top players who's high-rated because they only play against each other. I generally thought Aagaard was completely wrong. But when you see these kids, you wonder, maybe they actually are just as... I mean, is it obvious to you that Abdu Satorov or Gukesh is a weaker player than Giri? Not particularly, I thought.
But please, I mean, they will be 27-15 in like less than a year, so they will belong to this elite club. I mean, it's for sure. I mean, every time they play, they just win 20 points. I saw Eric Geisi as well. Now he's coaching this Abu Dhabi tournament. I mean, like every time you see a result, it's plus 15 after six games. I mean, okay, you don't understand what's happening. I mean, it's just unbelievable what they are doing. These kids.
No, it looks like their ratings are still just catching up to their strength, not just at that level, but if we look at the Olympiad results, all these guys, Sindarov, Yakuboyev, you name them, they're all up tremendously. So maybe I'm not sure how much Corona and not being able to play so much over the last 2 years, well, probably kids played a ton of games online. Maybe all the guys didn't do as much. How much that changed the rating dynamics? But it is notable now. It's, of course, hard to debate you guys, because you will use any debate to either blame it on Sutovsky or calling Giri an overrated chicken. So very hard to argue from that angle. But I think there's something to it.
We are not wrong.
When we see these
No,
kids,
come on. You're just
jumping.
You're just... no. I don't think Giri is an overrated chicken. He's a chicken. It could be better if he wouldn't be a chicken. He's just a chicken. But he's not overrated. I mean, Giri is a very strong player.
I was just wondering why Peter would pick Giri out of all.
No, I thought that, you saw it in this. He was actually number 7 out of 8 in this Crypto Cup.
It was a rapid tournament. It's not FIDE rated, Peter. I thought at this point you would know the difference.
Yeah, I disagree. I think like Magnus, that exactly in Rapid and Blitz you can show your real strength. I mean, it's a more skill-based game than classical chess.
Okay, so you think Pragnananda is the world number 2?
No, I don't think so. But that is basically But I mean, not everybody was playing. But no, I'm a bit puzzled. But he's done it quite often, Pragnananda, and this is that is impressive. I mean, in Weigense, I was somewhat impressed, but not to that extent. But in some other events, he's done really well. So
which score did he make in Weigense? I can't remember.
And me neither, long.
Okay,
also
but
in
you are impressed.
Kids' years, like 7 months is an eternity. And once again, Weigense was a classical event. Well, Pragnananda in particular seems extremely strong in Rapid and Blitz. Like I always watch his games. He always has 10 seconds, and then he just makes all the best moves, never panics like Magnus and others were putting a lot of pressure. But he just stays cool. And it's very, very impressive how good of a Rapid player he is. But I do think there's a distinction. And we could argue which one says more about your chess skill. between these tournaments and the Classical. Like, Fabi, of course, struggled in the Olympiad, but we would always think of him as a very, very strong chess player. Not just, he also does depend on preparation and having time to calculate and so on.
Yeah.
So I think the skill sets are somewhat different once in a while, but of course the top players will usually be great at all of them.
Well said.
Yeah. So talking about Crypto Cup, Magnus
won. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Magnus won.
But lost the last match to Pragnanda.
Yeah.
So Peter, is he happy, or is the bitter taste in his mouth of losing the last game?
That I wouldn't think he cared much about, but I think maybe, well, it's a typical Magnus thing. I mean, he's the best, and he's the one who plays best in the event, so he wins. But I wouldn't say that he necessarily played up to his level either. I mean, but it was a pretty professional performance, and I think he looked happy on pictures. He looks happy to win, and my hunch is that you're trying to drag Pro Sutovsky into it based on a tweet. So that, I think Sutovsky was making the point that this is the big difference between classical chess and this esports, that Magnus looked very happy after a loss. Well, I will point out that Magnus actually won the tournament. So, well, it was this strange system is that if you lose in tiebreaks, you lose only 2-1. And Magnus was leading with 2 points before the last round. So as long as he didn't lose the match sort of in a non-tiebreak situation, he would win the tournament. So he cruised to win the tournament, and then he lost the last 3 games because he didn't have much to play for and seemed to play sort of even worse openings than usual. And these things happen. I think he blundered here and there. I don't think he thought that was particularly funny. I don't think he cared a lot about it either. If we have to debate Sutovsky's principal point, if this esport makes sense, I don't know.
Just for the record, I would like to state, I asked Peter 2 questions. One was, are young players underrated? The answer began with Giri. Second was, is Magnus happy? The answer begins with, I'm trying to drag Sutovsky into this.
But you are.
In whose head are they?
You're referring to a Sutovsky tweet, actually.
I wasn't. I was asking if he's happy with his performance.
Yeah, but, sure. But, well, no, I think you're actually wrong on this one.
Continue talking about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. I will talk about Magnus and happiness. And I think he's happy. He just won a chess event, and that's it. I mean, if you have to win every match and such, it becomes a bit strange. Also, we talk about Fressinet and, let's say, the French championship is a knockout. The good thing with a knockout is there is always something at stake, and when there's nothing at stake, the tournament is over. Well, this was a situation where Magnus had won and I had to keep playing, which is a bit weird, right?
That's a good point. So Magnus is playing soon, yeah. So he's confident to go to St. Louis, where there is a rapid and blitz, and then
I think he's playing only the classical there, right?
Okay.
That starts September 2nd. So
are you going there, Peter?
Can I reveal such? Okay, I can. I'm going there, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, just a question for our listeners. And for me as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to St.
I'm asking my questions, live. This is nice. It's not what people want to hear, no?
Yeah. No, I'm planning to go to St. Louis. I have a ticket and everything. So
okay.
I'm going.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. So.
Okay, then back to the debate which Peter addressed earlier for a bit. We've had this Crypto Cup. The question I got the most, and I don't really have a great answer, is why aren't they playing over the board if they're all in the same room? But I kind of like the visuals, and guys are also very used to playing on computer screens against each other. But is it real chess? Is there a distinction between that and classical chess over the board? Where do we draw the lines? What's taken more serious by the players?
Can I answer with Giri, or you're going to be upset?
No, I won't be upset. I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah,
please
there is actually a good point with playing it on computers because, well, when you play on computer, you have to play it fair. You cannot, for instance, start moving before your opponent has moved, and you cannot sort of throw down pieces and make a move, right? Actually, when you play it on a computer screen, you ensure that everything is happening completely fair. While in chess, for instance, you can end up in these clock banging situations where pieces are flying and you press the clock anyway. This is impossible when you play it like this. Esports version is actually cleaner and more fair because it's impossible to do any kind of these things, right? So
actually, Hans would disagree. No, you plug your computer battery and then you gain thinking time.
Well, okay, I'm apparently I'm just I'm not creative enough. But you get my point, right? That
if you play the same move, actually, Armageddon game, I wouldn't be against to play it on a computer.
No, I mean that it actually avoids this kind of extremely wild situations with pieces are flying. You bang the clocks, and I mean the arbiter looks away, and you don't know what's going to happen. When you are doing it on a computer, everything functions like this, unless apparently, Gusti knows some tricks I don't know, but I thought at least theoretically.
No, I don't know any tricks. I just recall there was a situation, I think in the maybe first round match, where Duda's laptop battery expired, and they had to recharge it, and Niemann, who lost the match then, was very upset that gave Duda time to think about his good position.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's also what happened if Kasparov deep blue, if you unplug deep blue. I mean, I don't know. I mean, of course, you can always come up with some ideas, but
but you have a good point, because Sam tried establishing pre-moving and over-the-board games. It didn't work very well.
No.
Computer, it tends to work nicely.
Yeah.
No, but I will join Peter by answering Guy, some Guy stuff, and I don't know if he's still doing it, but he used to do something weird, which was he was about to make his move, and he was looking at your reaction sometimes, which I think was a bit not. I mean, it's legal, but it's not really nice to do that. And now, when you play over, I mean, with the screen, you cannot do such. You can't make some tricks over.
Sounds like a good feature, no? That you can paint your move on your opponent's board. And watch the camera.
No. Of course, I agree that it's artificial in a way, but it also has some advantage. But again, I mean, there are sponsors who wants to do this. They can do whatever they feel like. Generally, I mean. I get the point that it's artificial playing chess as an esport, because chess you can just play with a board and pieces like we've done.
But you can also play it just as well on a computer screen. Yeah. It's just a question of what you're used to. Like we've all played more games on computer screens than on actual boards, for sure.
Yeah. Well, most. I mean, for instance, I'm gonna sound like a dinosaur, but I will mention FIFA football game. I mean, that you have to play on a computer screen because you cannot really just play it like that in reality. But so that you
excellent comparison.
Thanks a lot. I thought so too myself. So that made sense. Oh, I don't know whatever they are playing. Dota 2.
NBA 2003. Exactly. Play.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm right, but you get to the laugh.
Yeah, we know you think you're right. I mean, we know that.
I know.
Come on. I mean,
No, but point taken. Like they're both in chess.
Yeah.
Equally well functioning, which is rare, because usually it's either a video game or a physical activity.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a question how serious the players take it. I don't know. I'm old school. To me, the results in classical FIDE rated, like, I still follow with more, whatever you want to call it, focus the candidates, let's say, or the World Championship matches, than the Champions Chess Tour. But there's also, in a way, it's a great situation for the players. There's none of the precious rating points at stake, while there's a lot of viewership, attention, money to be made. So I think they take it serious, but maybe without the stress and the self-loathing.
I think it's also about mindset. I mean, I remember at some point I thought World at Rapid, no one takes it that serious. It's nice money, but no one really cares. But someone like Grishuk, for him, it was the main event of the year. And when you can see others also start to get into the mindset, no, this is a very serious championship, something can be prepared for and take it very seriously. And I think it really depends on your attitude towards it in a way.
I think when there is a world champion title on the line, like for this World Rapid and Blitz, it's taken much more seriously, and you can see very quickly. I will give away maybe something, but I mean, from the openings, you can judge. from the players. I mean, when you check the games of World Rapid, let's say it's much more serious than Champion Chess Tour openings. Starting with Magnus, actually. And many others.
I saw him in
players.
one of this World Rapid. He played e4, knight f6, e5, and he went back to the knight with g8, right?
No, that was against Laurent in some Grand Chess Tour, no?
No, this was a World Championship game, right?
Oh, okay. But sometimes his first two moves are...
Yeah, I was trying to insult
takes them.
Laurent, but my connection crashed in the middle, so I don't know. Sorry.
Okay, mine as well. So I guess
That was some kind of break. But no, I agree. It's not the same. But well, it's also it should maybe be. Well, normally we see games from itself, but here maybe you can see them like a game within a set in tennis. I mean, somehow more games happens, you have your chances in a way. I don't know. I kind of like it, and also, well, as Magnus sort of tend to point out, that the more games that are played, the more skill-based it becomes. Like in classical, everything hangs on one game. But, I mean, there is pluses and minuses. I'm still, I'm an old guy, so for me it feels unnatural. But I can imagine for quite some young players thinks that this is how it should be. And I don't know.
Speaking of young players, I'm not sure if you guys followed this. Should we worry about Hans Niemann? Because I was watching most of his interviews, and I quite enjoyed them, and I enjoyed him and his style, and he's doing some trolling, of course, and there's quite some humor. I quite like it, but it was too tempting. I think he won this first game against Magnus, then lost the match 3-1, and I think he lost all his matches, which can very much happen in such a strong field. But it was very tempting, of course, to make all these "the chess speaks for itself" jokes. There was one of his interviews where he just chess speaks for itself.
I saw that, yeah.
But I'm a bit, I don't know. I can't quite figure out what's an act and when he's really, really miserable. Because I've been miserable from chess plenty, and sometimes he sounds very, very dark in his interviews. Laurent, you are a student of psychology. What's your verdict?
I don't know. It's I don't know him. I mean, like the first time, actually, I met him only once in Paris. Actually, when he was already higher rated than me. So this is very weird. Now I meet for the first time people who are higher rated than me. But I don't know. I mean, he looks very, very focused and motivated. So he's taking all that very, very seriously. That is 100% clear for me. I mean, he did improve a lot, that's for sure, and he got the chance to play in this Champion Chess Tour, and I think it was very important for him, that's for sure, to show his best against top players. So I guess when you feel he's dark because he's losing all his matches, I think it's quite right. That would be my hate on him, but could be wrong.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have to admit, I have only seen the chess speaks for itself bit. That's all. I mean, yeah.
But you should have an opinion. Come on, and I think you're right.
My general, it's more of a sort of general philosophical opinion. But for me, it feels more painful to lose than it feels happiness winning. And a chess professional, you think, okay, you win many more games than you lose, so it's not too bad. But, when you win, someone else loses. So, I mean, you think that's just for chess professionals or is for everybody? But if everybody feels much worse when they lose than when they win, well, we're having a pretty bad gig going on here. So,
yeah, I think it's normal in high-level competition because we all think of ourselves as smarter, greater, whatever, and then if we win, it's sort of normal. While the pain of losing, it's crushing. It's always been for me, and also how chickens are created. No, like you give up EV to avoid the pain of losing, even if it comes with less winning.
But I think chess is a bit special, actually. Now I remember when I thought about it, in the sense that we have the draw, which means that we lose quite rarely. For instance, in a game like shogi or tennis, just to take two very similar things, there is no draw. So even if you're the best in the world, you might lose every third game. or something like that, which means that you are used to losing. While in chess, we lose so rarely that it's going to feel much more painful in a way. Again, I always end up talking about, let me not mention Geary this time, but I noticed this thing with the Crypto Cup. You could actually not end on 50% in this event, right? This I thought was a bit funny. You're either going to have a plus score or a minus score. There's simply no, it's 7 rounds and there's no way you can end up on 50% simply. You see what
50% of points because you score 3. It's 3-0-2-1? Yeah, so you can.
You cannot. There is.
So what do you say that in chess, losses are more painful than in other?
I think so because they are somewhat a bit rarer. They don't have. You can always make a draw. So in a normal tournament, maybe you lose 1 game out of 9. While in others, in let's say tennis, right? There is a winner and a loser, and that's it. So you're gonna lose quite often. It feels much more normal. Losing in chess feels extraordinary, and then it becomes more painful. Is my impression. I think there is exceptions. For instance,
I would argue that it's even more painful in boxing.
Yeah, you could be right, but then fair enough. But you don't box that often. But anyway, it's a good point. I think in my youth I was at a sports psychology lesson, not lesson, but sort of a conference, and there was a lot of other sports there, and I talked about how painful it was losing in chess, and then someone said, "Okay, just give us a break. There's no one who stands hitting on you. Okay, we cannot listen to this crap." And I get the point. I have to admit.
Now I'm thinking about this draw thing. It's never the same pain as losing, but it can also be painful. It can linger if you know deep inside that you're a chicken and you've chickened out yet again. Like, it can also have some consequences, but it's not this self-loathing.
No, but the worst scenario is when you are completely winning, just for that you missed like 10 wins and you made a draw, or you lost. Of course, losing is always the worst. But let's say, the worst way, and I know actually that it's not that bad because I was doing well in the game and so on. So actually I played some good moves. But when I miss many wins, I feel bad after the game. While if I saved some lousy position, I feel much better.
I've spoken with 2 persons which I thought it didn't feel too bad about. One of them was Bent Larsen. He said, you lose, then you try to win the next day. Of course, it's unpleasant losing, but that's it. It's not sort of the end of the world or the tournament. And then, I asked Topalov when we were at a chess camp together recently here, and he said, for him, it didn't matter so much. He will just try and keep on playing. But I think for most others, it seems to be a quite a sort of a bad experience, right?
There's also, I think it's a difference, the fear of losing.
Yeah.
And actually losing itself. Like, I've always had big fear of losing.
Yeah.
If you lose a game, okay, you're annoyed, but you do realize, why am I trying to make all these draws? Actually, the world doesn't end. I can still get food and get to play tomorrow. But I think there's also something a lot of top players, you can speak better on Magnus, are good at. They tell themselves, I'm sure we talked about this, okay, I can be upset for 2 or 3 hours now, but then I have to forgive myself, move on, and play the game tomorrow.
Magnus is, he will always be there the next day, is my impression. That is that you can more or less count on. I think Kasim at some point pointed out that he said that it's no secret that Vichy is known for being vulnerable after a loss. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but at least he said he made that observation. My tendency is always to disagree, but I have no idea. Sorry.
Magnus doesn't always attend the press conference, but he attends the next game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you kind of have to, right? So,
yeah.
But you were about to say something, Gusti?
No, I was just thinking. Vichy, he did win the next day in the Gelfand match.
With Vichy, I know them by detail. Vichy was behind a couple of game instances, but I have never had a free day at a World Championship match with Vichy where he was behind. So whenever he fall behind, he would do it at the odd, like game 1 or game 7, and then he would equalize in game 2 or game 8. So it didn't happen that often. Well, I had a pretty luxurious experience as
I don't know if I heard it or if I read it in in the book about Vichy's matches, which whatever his name is, I'm on files or something. That Vichy, when he was losing in some opening, he didn't want to repeat
Peter,
it.
do you know what book he's referring to?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But actually you read it thanks to me.
Yes,
Actually,
right.
you stole it. You stole it from me.
I actually literally stole it from you. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, you stole it. Yeah, without any kind of compensation or.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Just a reminder. No, I don't know if I read it there, but then he didn't want to. When he was losing in some opening, he didn't want to repeat it, and he did make. I mean, in the 2014 match in Sochi. Against Magnus, he lost in some Berlin in game 2, and then in game 4 he came up with this crappy can, which you hardly see in World Championship match, because I mean Berlin is. I mean you have so many openings available, much better than that. That it was a little
you
weird.
have better memory of these things than me. Is Laurent making this up?
No,
because he made a draw with the can in game.
No, but he lost in Berlin, and then he switched to Cannes. Then he lost the Cannes in game 6, and then he came back to Berlin. So it means
let me just tell you how it was. So
did he lose an early Berlin game?
yes.
he lost game 2. Yeah.
Okay.
He lost. Well, the first game was a Grünfeld. Vichy was worse, but it was a draw. Then Magnus won a Berlin. Then he lost the Queen's Gambit, and then they played not a Khan, but one c4, one e4 c5, knight f3, e6 g3.
But he was planning the Cannes.
Yes, I think the point of Vichy's Khan and his general concept in the match was that, well, he would force Magnus to play heavy theory. And the point with 2e6 Sicilian, I guess Vichy's idea was that there was no really good way of avoiding sort of main lines. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's a different story.
I mean, heavy theory, I mean, in the line Magnus played in game 6.
Yeah, but that was
a
bit novel at the time. It was also the famous incident where Nepomniachtchi and Potkin came to me and Magnus and helped us and showed us some ideas. So I mean, I thanked them for that, and then I'm still gunning at them politically. But well, that's me, right? But no, that was. I mean, this was actually. This idea with playing c4 and this ending that happened was something they showed us the afternoon or evening before. The
that
game.
was not my point at all. I mean, Vichy wouldn't repeat a line where he lost the previous game. I mean, let's say a black game, then the next black game, he doesn't do that. So no. I don't know where I read it or someone told me, and then I noticed it was absolutely correct, actually.
It could be, you're right.
When he lost the Open Spanish to Kasparov, then he switched immediately. Maybe, I mean, you can fix Open Spanish. I mean, it's for sure. I mean,
you
it's
can,
a good opening, but he switched immediately. So, he has this, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a superstition or it's something, I don't know. It's something I don't get, but it's something that happens, actually.
Yeah,
and I don't know if
also Peter's earlier point might be important. Vichy, especially peak Vichy, probably wasn't very used to losing. No, of course he would lose a game now and then, but once he started having all this world champion prep, how many games did he lose per year? 2, 3?
Not a lot. I mean, and well, actually, it's a good point. I mean, well, this sort of anticipation of losing when they have a lost position, that's incredibly stressful. When it actually happens somehow, okay, you live with it and you try to move on and you try not to, well, as a second, you just try to be a fly on the wall or to be a bit consoling, but normally people don't want to be consoled, they just want to be left alone, right? But, I mean, I get the point that it's the process rather than the actual thing that's most painful in many ways, and the most stressful part.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should make any that for Peter it's tough to be a fly on the wall jokes, but no. Can't think of any good ones.
I mean, not adult elephant in the room. No, that's actually
that's pushing it as well.
Yeah.
You are a presence in a small room.
Uh-huh. I see.
So let's move on.
Where?
Let's go to the tweet from Peter this morning. Today, I think, we're recording Tuesday. Yeah, you did a tweet about Magnus' quest to 2100 and some
I
nice.
thought it was you were mentioning one of my anti-FIDE tweets, and now you come with
That will
this.
come later.
Okay, sure. Let's take the Magnus tweet. Yeah.
So that's the odds of Magnus getting to 2100.
Yeah.
So I didn't read the article, so you.
Neither did I.
But I clicked on it, and then I saw someone said it's 4.5%.
Yeah. That's all.
That he makes it, which sounds about right. So I thought, these smart scientists, they did the math.
Much.
He's not a favorite, but it's also not completely hopeless, which seems like someone.
Again, I think let's have an expert discussion about the article without any of us having read it. But I assume it's like
2022.
Sorry?
It's 2022. It's normal.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Yeah, it just took me a time to grasp the funniness of your joke. But I mean, I was studying for some reason a lot of baseball statistics at some point, and they have the same thing there. That sort of over history, there is a couple of people who had some absurdly good runs. And, everybody will explain it with some kind of external factors, while in reality, it adds exactly the same number as if you would have something completely random. And, if you just flip a coin, there's going to be these great runs. And the way I understood this article without reading it is that, with Magnus' current strength, if you run random simulations of his career, then like 4.5% of the times, he will accidentally end up in 2900. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I would think so.
Laurent
No
doesn't.
clue, but sounds good.
Yeah. Something like that.
Sounds. Right? I'm sure it's like. I mean, how can it be another way?
No, that would be reasonable. So we're not talking about him improving. We're just talking about him having a bit of good luck. So there is 4.5% chance to get there. Of course, Mel, we could train and prepare. Maybe we can up it a bit, or maybe that's probably calculated. Average amount of training obviously must be calculated into it. I can see that you start sighing when we talk about training, Laurent. But yeah.
No, not at all. No, I don't know. Yeah, but it's no, okay. You just published it, so I thought.
But an interesting point was also that they said that if you up the K factor to 15 instead of 10, then the odds jumps to 19% only based on the K factor.
Of course.
So
it's more random with K15.
Of course, but still 15 is not that big of a difference. Actually, when we talk about St. Louis, I think
50% more. I mean, it's a lot.
I could not say it more exact than that.
But 50% more is not like I give you some fee and then I give you 50% more and you will say it's not much or it doesn't make a big difference.
No, it is, but of course, I mean, when you then climb higher, you also get a higher expected score. So it's not, it's not like you have to win 40 points instead of 60 points. It actually means that, you will get to some higher, but then it becomes more difficult because your rating is higher. But I remember that before St. Louis.
Do you think you are height?
Yes, actually I do. But I will tell you if I don't. But, no, I wanted to say about St. Louis that I think 3 years ago I went there with the expectation. Actually, this was Magnus' best shot ever to get to 9. But somehow the tournament didn't go very well. Maybe he ended up on +2 with winning the last 2 games. But
when he lost this tie-break match to Ding?
Yeah, exactly. There, and he lost some rating. It was never really close. But at that point, I thought, okay, if he has an extremely good run, maybe like 7 or 7.5 points, he might get there. But somehow he played rapid, seems in crappy shape, but then a bunch of draws, and then suddenly he won the last 2 games a bit accidentally and had this playoff. He then went on to lose and things like that. But
so we generally agree his chances are 5% to make it.
Something like that, yeah. Well, it seems to be the thought. I think it's too difficult, to be honest. But again, I'm not really allowed to say that. But I think also that's a bit of that's the fun part of it. If he achieves that, then you can say, okay, this was insanely impressive, right?
No, but 20-1 I would take. I would take from Magnus. I would 10-1. I would start thinking. No, actually, I would still take for Magnus to make it. I mean, if you give me
10-1 booked.
Yeah, okay,
10-1 booked.
Yep. So you're saying he'll make it, yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, you just can we negotiate a bit?
Because then you just said I would take 10-1.
Yeah, I would probably take 10-1. I mean, I was thinking. I mean, at 20-1, I take immediately. I take now 15 as well. Then I'm thinking. I'm negotiating with you.
I think we have it on tape, Laurent.
Yeah, I think
so
what's the time frame? It's
exactly.
10 years? Or
10 years, that's a long time.
5?
5, okay. Even better, yeah.
10? You want to make 10?
I don't know. That's 2032. Yeah, I can wait that long.
But does it work like a bookmaker that Laurent has to pay you now, and then he gets 10 times the money back if he makes?
That sounds excellent.
No, obviously, because then we have then suddenly inflation becomes a factor as well.
Cash machine.
That inflation becomes a factor. Okay, it's too complicated. So let's not do that.
See how he's backing up instantly.
Yeah.
Kasparov wants new friends is the next item on my list. I had a tweet that we could apply to him following us on Twitter.
Yeah.
He should do that, of course.
He shouldn't follow me or Laurent. We rarely ever tweet, and if it is, it's dumb jokes in French or German. So you're not missing out, Gary. Chicken Chess Club, he also shouldn't follow. He doesn't belong here, let's face it.
Yeah.
He was never chicken.
But we should.
We're arguing about law.
I think also, Gary just has me dominated. He's better at criticizing Russia. He's better at chess. I don't have anything to offer.
But
he's not a chicken either. No.
Yeah, no, he's not a chicken, that's for sure. No. Our producer kind of forgot the main topic of the podcast. What's wrong with Sutowski this week? Peter?
We'll get there anyway. I don't think Peter needs it on the list.
No.
But maybe we have to set the table. No? Like Peter, for new listeners, he ran for deputy president. Deputy president of FIDE on the ticket of Andriy Barshpolits from Ukraine. And went to Chennai, and Peter got to see there all the deputies and the behind the scenes of the FIDE presidential election. The delegates, I meant. Yeah, sorry, I said deputies. The delegates. Anyway, the current government won the election. And Peter, since you've still been very active.
Yeah.
But you're back to your Twitter ways. What's your political or your non-political stance? What's the situation currently?
I think mainly it was COVID related, that I was planning to enjoy life and have a break from Twitter when I came back, but then I was basically isolated, lying in bed, and what else to do than tweet, right? So
I'm not sure I buy that, because I've noticed that you have a very strict routine. Like, you get up early, I'm assuming, let's say 7:30.
Yes.
Then 8 till 9 is your... Let's tweet at Emil Sutowski, at FIDE Chess. Let's look for Russian flags on the internet. And then at 9, you're done. You probably bring your kids somewhere. You're going to play golf. And then it's back the next day. So I'm not sure it's isolated COVID related.
No, it
seems like there's a pattern there.
Well, that is what happened. You are actually completely right. That today I left my kid at 8:30 to those taking care of the golf, and then I take up my computer. I look at chess for 8 minutes, and then I start tweeting for an hour. Right. So actually you're spot on with that, but. That wasn't the point, but the point was I came back and was planning this, new life, running in the forest, listening to birds singing, this kind of stuff. And then you're just completely locked in for a week, right, with COVID and nothing to do.
All your tweets with Dear Emil.
Well, that one is when I have enough characters for that, yes. I mean, it depends a bit. But also I've seen that if you if you start with tagging Emil as the first thing in a tweet, then it's only people who follows me or him, who follows both of us. And then, of course, the rest of the world will not get to see our debate, which we think would be a loss.
But actually,
I add Dear first to sort of ensure that everybody sees it.
So you are just always tagging Sutowski, but now
no, that is really not the case. Quite often I started. He says that I'm chasing him.
No, it's okay.
But I want to point out that quite often it's me who tweets out in a general tweet, and he comes in and says that now I'm lying again, and then I respond to that. I would say is our normal relationship.
But actually, you wanted to have a debate before election, maybe still now. But would you rather have a debate with Sutowski or Dvorkovich? Because Dvorkovich is the president, so he's responsible. He's the guy elected, as you pointed out. Sutowski is just an employee, So, I mean, basically the elected person tells him what he gets to do, and he does it. I mean, this is how it should work. I don't know if it works like that. Probably not.
Well, I think generally Dvorkovich should be interviewed by a critical journalist. That has not happened for half a year.
He shouldn't have a debate with you. So you think?
I would be happy to. I mean, but that, I don't know. That would be a bit weird. Well, it's just that, me and Sutovsky has had this idea of debate for more than half a year, and I think that the chess world.
So
would find
you are choosing Sutovsky.
Embarrassing. I think it doesn't matter. I think if I start debating with Dvorkovich, Dvorkovich should debate with a journalist instead. I think that would be more reasonable. Yes. I think.
Who do you think about more during the course of the day, Dvorkovich or Sutovsky?
I mean, we know the answer. Come on.
Yeah. For me, it's like
everyone knows.
No. It's I actually think more about chess openings if you really want to know.
Come on,
Really? No,
that's
You're wrong
your
about
default. I'm just this chess purist.
No, I'm not purist, but you underestimate how much I think about chess openings. I think on the contrary,
we know that.
Well,
we usually don't mock you for your.
No, but also
chess
people should
opening
understand.
prowess.
Some people say that why don't you work on chess instead of tweeting? But it's exactly when you work on chess that you also tweet, because modern chess work is giving the computer a bit of time. So the typical thing is that
So you work on chess from 8:30 till 9:30.
No, that's not how it works. You work on chess and you say, this is an interesting idea. Then you let the computer look at it for a minute, and you, in order not to interrupt it, you tweet, and then you go back and see the evaluation. So I will say.
So you are giving away that you have a weak computer.
No, I think that giving it a bit of time.
Come on, Magnus, pay for some remote engines finally.
Yeah. Don't give away my methodology. No.
You still have this quad core, this 10 kilo thing.
Sorry. Yeah.
You used to have this super heavy laptop.
No, not anymore. Now I think. Well, me and Vichy was generally ahead technology-wise compared to others in the sense that we had, for instance, I remember that. In Mexico 2007, when he became the world champion the first time with me as a coach, the second time for him. Well, me and Vichy was bringing this laptops that indeed was very heavy, while Van Veli, who was the coach of Kramnik, came with a sort of a slim Ferrari laptop that indeed looked cool, while ours was absurdly ugly and noisy, but quite efficient in a way. It actually reminds me of this very funny joke by... Oh, it's embarrassing. Ken Thompson from Google, right? He was going to Russia, or at that point the Soviet Union, together with Frederick Friedland. He was bringing a laptop, and they sort of asking him can it be used as a weapon? And he said, well, if you drop it out from an airplane and it hits someone, it's going to hurt. I was basically the same kind of laptop that we were having. This was this, extremely heavy. And I think at some point, we used them so much analyzing that it melted down. And I think you can picture, it's a true story that Vichy was standing for 10 minutes with having the computer up at the air conditioning in order to get it to work again. So, this is the kind of stuff that we
I was
used
using
to
some
do together
thing
before we started fighting FIDE elections. But these days, laptops are too weak, right? So you are just using some kind of...
There's a story that Kramnik, he would do these deep position analysis overnight, but the computer would get so noisy that he had to put them in the bathroom, no?
Well,
so
I don't know. He was putting.
That was me, at least, for sure. I remember at some point basically sleepwalking into the bathroom at night and then looking. Okay, it's analyzing the Marshall as well, right? So
No, when I was working with Kramnik, he didn't want a single computer to be out of job. Yeah, so basically it was all over the place running some. Deep position analysis, yeah, exactly. That was the name.
But Kramnik would come and check up
very
at you at
insightful stuff.
Check up at you at night,
this
right?
deep position analysis.
Yeah, of course.
You got these endless trees of 3 moves per position, but I never gained that.
Yeah, he was feeling better when the seconds were not sleeping. Mm-hmm. So he was saying that some nights he would come to check because he's sleeping very late, actually like 3 or 4 in the morning. So someday he would come to check, and someday he would not come. And actually, it was 100% true. Someday he would come to check, and someday he would not come. But you had to be there. So that was kind of a bit. Yeah, we were pretty tired in Bonn. Yeah, I must say that. And the result were not.
As Hans Niemann would say,
cheering
chess spoke for itself.
Yeah.
But Peter, I promise that in Thailand during the last match I did the same. I had a very good idea of where Laurent could be at 1 a.m. and I would go check, not every day, but most days to see if he was there or not. And sometimes he was there, sometimes he wasn't. So no worries.
That's actually. Yeah, that would be a fun joke, but actually it's completely true. So. Yeah.
But in Team Magnus, we basically gave up on these things. We just thought that if you deliver the result, then that's how it's going to be, right?
That's how it works. Yeah, that's
how it works, and also, I don't know.
Well, anyway,
yeah,
I think we shortchanged Peter here by distracting from what's on your mind with chess politics and where you want to go and so on and so forth. Right?
You mean if you want me to announce that I'm running in 2026, or what are you talking about?
No, we wanted
you
to talk
but
about.
in general, you haven't mentioned about
Russian flag.
What's bothering you with FIDE?
A lot of things does, no doubt. I mean, well, I think we're gonna walk into some trouble. I don't know if you saw, but they announced the women's. I don't know if it's called Grand Prix, and again, they have I would say fixed the pairings. So in the first edition, there will be, I think, only Ukrainian players and no Russians. So for 2022, it's not going to be a problem. And for FIDE's decision to sort of, disallow something with Russians is only for 2022. So the test is going to be in 2023. And especially, I think, what's going to be very complicated is in May. The last edition of the Grand Prix is going to be in Poland, and the 3 times I tried pronouncing the name, my wife was telling me that it was completely wrong. So I will just say it's going to be in a Polish city that's not Warsaw, and there's going to be both Ukrainian, Polish, and Russian players, and that's in May. So I understand it's like quite at some time from now. But Poland has been by far the most hardliner country towards Russian sports persons, if you remember. That Poland refused to play against Russia in football, and Russia was kicked out for the qualification of the FIFA World Cup for that in football. Poland, when there was like 35 countries signing that there should be no Russian no Russians with Kremlin connections in leading positions in sport federations like Dvorkovich, and also to have more bans on Russian athletes. It was the Polish sports minister who was gathering votes like this. Poland is really the hardliner country here. So this is going to be a very strange and complicated position that's going to happen in 8-9 months. And me always trying to look in advance and help FIDE avoid problems, of course, immediately notified Emil Sutovsky of that issue. But
that's very kind of you.
Thanks. We call it prophylactic tweeting, right? But
in general, how is it? Because I'm confused. So you have this women's Grand Prix, and both Ukrainian and I'm assuming Russian players under FIDE flag are playing.
Yes,
but they are paired in a way that they're not in the same result.
No, this is the candidates. Actually, you are thinking
the candidates.
Candidates. They split it up like this: that the 2 Ukrainian Mochichuk sisters is in one bracket, and the others 3 Russian players, Goroshkina, Lakno, and Kostenyuk, is in the other bracket. And the winners of these brackets, who are played separately, will then have to play a match. So it's only if a Ukrainian and a Russian
win. And that's not because of chance, that's because they did.
Well, they didn't. This is also typical. In English, they had not admitted it's the case, but I'm getting the impression you didn't see Sutovsky's mega interview to Russian Sport Express. There he said that they did it for political reasons.
They did,
I don't know, of course. No easy answers here, but it's strange to me.
Well, I mean,
I think it's fine
for them to play under FIDE flag. Then they should also be fine to play.
Yeah, I would guess that
other competition.
Well, it is
play against Ukraine.
It is strange that we are actually willingly are fixing the parents to avoid this problem. I mean, at least we should.
Someone will have a sporting
it's
advantage,
incredibly-
maybe not much, but like
No,
It's just
I think-
incredibly unfair.
Kostenjuk was complaining about it and saying that some players' point of view has not been taken into account. And I get her point. I mean, she's one of the lower rated, so now she will be paired to play Goriatsken in the first match. While if it was a candidates would all play all, they would all play the same pool of players. While now, well, we all know being a lower rated in a knockout has the disadvantages. So I think she has a reasonable case. But, well, what I dislike is this sort of, I would say, dishonesty in not A, saying we're going to do it for political reasons, and B, not having the debate first and doing it afterwards. We just see that it has happened. I would say that, well, you could say that it's to protect the Russian players. You can also argue it's to protect the Ukrainian players, because I think under the current rules, Ukrainian players are not allowed to play against Russian players. So it would obviously be very complicated.
Come on, it's to protect Ukrainian players. It's clear.
Well, yeah, you can also argue it's in order to protect Russian players who will then not be kicked out. I mean, this FIDE are trying to portray this image that the IOC recommends that they play under the FIDE flag. But, well, I mean, the IOC president said on... Yeah, but the IOC president said on the 11th of August that the IOC is still recommending that Russian and Belarusian athletes should not compete. So, I mean, it's a very, well, there's a lot of interests.
Yeah, no, of course, it's not easy situations, that's for sure, yeah.
Magnus?
Yeah, it sounds...
Ja, arbeider stadigvæk.
Sounds very, very strange, but to me it's, if you allow Russian players to play under the FIDE flag, then treat them as normal participants, but to have it both ways, or don't allow them, and then, of course, it's up to the Ukrainians or whoever to make that statement. Yeah. But, either don't have them play, which I'm sure you could find good reasons for, or have them play normally. But, these two groups, I guess it's probably done with good intentions, but just feels so artificial, and it opens the doors to so much criticism. Generally,
there was this thing with Israelis and Iranians that Iranians was refusing to play. And then they would be, banned. And, well, you can argue it's the same here. But, of course, we would not like to be in a situation where Ukrainians would say we're not going to play Russians, and then we have to disqualify the Ukrainians. So, I generally agree that politics...
But now, generally, they stopped to do it in open tournaments. In many open tournaments. I remember Alireza, I couldn't play. At some point,
you couldn't play.
Sorry, when he was Iranian, he couldn't play. He couldn't go to play against. It was some Grenke Open. I remember a few games where Iranian players. They could play, but they couldn't go back to their country if they would play. So that would be, of course.
But anyway, Well, you can see what FIDE is doing. They are trying to postpone the problem. So you can see that in the women's candidates, they split them. So the situation might happen later. And you can see the same with the Grand Prix, that they are the first leg, they are avoiding the problem. So they will see later. So basically, they are hoping for international developments to solve the problems in time, is my impression. So we will see. But
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have material for an extra half hour on FIDE if you want, but we can skip it now.
It's fine.
Yeah. Follow @PHChess on Twitter, and you won't miss any news on any Russian flags.
That's for sure.
Chess tournaments.
Russian Chess Federation. Yeah.
Do we have chickens? Jan, your favorite category?
Yeah, I even thought about it while we were recording. Has anybody chickened out recently?
That's amazing. Actually, I cannot think.
I'm sure Anish made some draw in this Crypto Cup thing, but I don't think he did anything particularly. Oh yeah, no, I'm not sure he's in. And there just wasn't enough chess. You put up a great fight in the French Championship. That would usually be, you could just take the whole field of the French Championship. Chicken of the week. But it didn't happen. The Svane brothers, they fought against each other in the German
It's a bad week for chickens.
Sorry, it's just a chicken-free week.
No, I was also thinking about it, and nothing came to mind, to be honest.
Wow, amazing. I did the same. But no.
All right, let's give it to one of our favorites, like
Anish.
Wesley, he hasn't played, but I'm sure.
Oh, Anish.
You think that should be like a lifetime award week that we just he's gonna go into?
No, normally Laurent doesn't need a reason to introduce.
It's by default.
Chicken to us.
Come on, Anish. He's not showing his prep in this online stuff, and people are watching. So
Crappy marshals hiding while Magnus is out there showing all his ideas in 1A3 and 1G6.
Actually, I didn't check much of Anish games, so I should.
No. All right, slow chess week. What's coming up? They have all this stuff in.
Sinkfield is gonna just go.
Commentary on the Sinkerfield, I think. Well, other than that,
I think they start. They start with Rapid and Blitz, then comes Classical, then comes 960, right? I mean, they're basically doing a month, is my impression.
So. I like it actually. I mean, I love this St. Louis tournament mainly because of when they start. It's 8 p.m. and it feels like I'm watching soccer or something. So I'm really happy with that tournament actually. Mainly because of his starting time.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, 8 p.m. in Europe. Yeah. I mean and it will be interesting to see. I guess the fields are always very, very interesting. I mean, with Grand Chess Tour players, I don't know who exactly is playing the Rapid, who exactly is playing the Classical. I guess some people are playing both.
I checked it, but I think, Nepomnian, Nachi, Magnus, a bunch of US players, I would guess. A couple of others. Damn it. I mean, I give a serious impression. But
and two Frenchies.
Two Frenchies? Wow.
Okay. I think Maxime is there, that's for sure, actually. Mm-hmm. And Alireza?
Could be.
Yeah. We'll see.
Check out next week's episode where, live on air, we try to guess the field of the sinking. Let's see.
I'm trying to Google it, but I'm not really. No.
Yeah. No.
Who knows?
Thank you so much for listening this week. I know you guys are on very busy schedules. Laurent is traveling.
Oof.
The French Alps. I have no idea where you are.
No, I'm in the southwest as usual.
If you're mentioning the French Alps, it's going to be a tale from the training camps. I'm sorry. I mean, this is a classic story when we had to climb mountains. We basically had the first two World Championship camps I was with Laurent. We had to climb a mountain. It was part of our routine, right? And
I think part of the job. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, you would start complaining, and I think the first time in
you were very happy about it, yeah.
No, the first time you turned the rough halfway. The next time you actually made it like 80% up the mountain, and then you spent a lot of energy trying to convince me we should turn back and walk all the way back, right?
We couldn't go further. I mean, it was a disaster. We were lost and we had...
You told me the road was blocked. I went 10 meters up, and no, it was not blocked. I mean, and then we went there. I mean, you wanted us to go like 5 kilometers down. It would have been dark and everything like this. It would have been a disaster.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I was kind of panicking because actually, I don't know if you remember, but we had no water, nothing to eat.
Yeah, it was a crappy situation, indeed.
Yeah, because Magnus, to help us, he took all of that. He was, taking that, but he was going too fast. And then he lost us.
Well, I think Maxime suddenly sort of he went very quickly ahead, and then Magnus went after him, and basically the two of us were stuck, right? And also we managed to get the last lift down with like 5 minutes to go. No, this could have been a pretty sensational thing, but anyway, the story could have been told better. But you have to live with me.
That sounds great, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Let's face it.
On that note.
Okay.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
See you next week. Bye.